everyone, welcome to Body Bomb number 12. This week I'm going to be talking to you about the difference between flexibility and mobility. Now unfortunately flexibility has been deemed the holy grail of good movement. How often do you hear, I can't do that, I'm not flexible enough, or wow, look at them, aren't they flexible, as someone drops down into the splits or goes into a back bend or reaches down and touches their toes. Unfortunately, it just isn't a very important indicator when it comes to good movement. And there's actually no proof to show that when it's not combined with strong mobile joints that it actually has any real benefits. So first of all, what is flexibility? Flexibility is the movement available based on the tissues that surround a joint, for instance, muscles. And it's gained passively, which means it has to have an external force applied to it, either manually or mechanically, in order to gain additional length. For instance, a muscle being held in a static stretch. You might be trying to stretch your hamstrings using the floor, for instance, and the floor then becomes your external force. Now, what we really want is strong, stable muscles to support our joints, not endlessly flexible muscles. So the thing that we should be focusing on is mobility. And mobility is the active range of motion of our joints, of a joint. So, for instance, if you bend your knee and lift it towards your chest, unaided, the height you can get it is your active range of motion. Then flexibility is the extra distance you gain by taking your hand and pulling your knee towards your chest. Now, good mobility is the range of motion that you have comparable to the range of motion that your joint was intended to move in. And it's influenced by the nervous system. Mobility is influenced by the nervous system and also movement, and it also helps to lubricate joints, so it's super important, especially as we get older. Now, it's all very well working flexibility, but it's not very important to work flexibility without also working mobility, because it's a bit like having a fixed point and you being attached to a bungee. If you try and run away from the fixed point, it doesn't matter how hard you try, that fixed point is always going to bring you back. Whereas if that fixed point then becomes mobile, you can run further. It's important to also note that you can have impressive flexibility and very poor mobility. So all those hours you might have spent doing passive static stretching, you might have unconsciously been neglecting your mobility. And actually there's no proof in science to show that stretching has any long-term impacts. So if you want to improve your movement and learn to move freely and towards optimal movement, you need to focus on improving your mobility. So tune in next week to find out how.